Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Notes 3. It's going to be covering percent of change today. So in working with percents, to find a percent, if we are given a fraction, and think about this as like if you were to find a percentage on like a homework score or a quiz score, test score, or something like that, you're going to divide the numerator by the denominator and move the decimal. So divide numerator, that's your top number, by the denominator, that's your bottom number. Okay, and then we move our decimal 2 to the right. Move decimal 2 places to the right. So for example, if you received your 21 out of 24 on your last quiz, what percentage of questions did you answer correctly? So if you grab your calculator and take 21 and divide it by 24, so go ahead and do that, you get a 0.875. So this is it as a decimal. Now we're going to move that decimal place 2 to the right. So 1, 2. And so that's going to give us 87.5% on our quiz. Now, I realize this is probably your first time watching notes on a video, and just reminders, if you are struggling to keep pace with me, pause the video or watch the video and then pause it in different places to go back in and write your notes. Just because I keep going doesn't mean you can't pause it. It's like the great thing that you can't do during class. You can rewind it and rewatch or re-listen to things too. So if I'm going too fast, take a pause, get things written down, and then resume. All right, so to find a percent given a decimal, so that's the second half of what we just talked about. We are going to move the decimal places 2 to the right. Or what you can think about it is that you are timesing that decimal by 100. So, or you are multiplying by 100. So if we look here, it says express 0.0235 as a percentage. So you can move your decimal place 2 to the right, or you can times by 100, which both of them are going to give us 2.35%. All right, so as I said, rewind, pause as you need. Let's go to the second half of your chart. We already did that top portion, so now we're just going to look at this using proportions with percents. Okay, I like this little is over of equals 100, or I mean percentage over 100. So the is means that it's the part, okay, and the of is the whole number. And if you think about it, on this side, 100% is your whole. So if of is your whole, it's going to match up with the 100. Think back to our 1.2 notes that we did, and we talked about when we started proportions, and we had like miles per gallon or centimeters per mile. We wanted to match miles with miles, centimeters with centimeters. Same idea here. We're putting the whole piece with the whole piece. What percent is 45 of 78? So truly, this is the same idea as the first problem. You are taking your 45 over 78, and you're setting it equal to x over 100. 45 is what percentage of 78? So we can go ahead and you can take 45 and divide by 78, move your decimal 2 over, or because this is a proportion, we have a line or a fraction equals a fraction. And so yesterday's notes, or those 1.2 notes, we talked about we can cross multiply. So 78x equals 4,500. And then when you divide, we get 57.7%. All right, so go ahead and try this next one. What percentage of 45 is 115? Just see if you can plug it into your is over of equals percent over 100 correctly first. So I'll give you a few seconds. If you need more than that, feel free to pause it. So if we look here, it says what percent of 45? So that means that 45 is my total number and the 115 is my is. Don't automatically assume the big number goes on the bottom and the small number goes on top. It's always based on how it's written in this equation. So go ahead and cross multiply. So take 115 times 100, and then here you're going to end up dividing by 45. So hopefully you're doing that on your calculator. And we get 255.6%. So notice 115 is bigger than 45, so we will expect to see percentages larger than 100. All right, 12 is 15% of what number? So here we are given our percentage. 100 is always in the bottom of that right side. So then it says 12 is. So that means 12 is my part. And it says of what number? So we don't know what our whole is. So go ahead and cross multiply here. So 12 times 100. Divide it by 15. And we find that to be 80. It is not a percentage. 15 was our percentage. All right, let's go ahead and talk about percent change. This is a little bit different than thinking about our previous problems. This is just finding what percent did my problem increase or decrease. So it's the amount something increases or decreases. Okay, so if you look in the next box, it says the percent change is equal to the difference in amounts. So we're going to subtract the two amounts and we're going to put it over the original amount. The number of students at Franklin High School increased from 840 to 910 over a 5-year period. What was the percent increase? So the part that talks about a 5-year period, we actually don't need that. So don't get confused when they tell you an amount of time. All we're looking at is, hey, we went from 840 to 910. So we are looking, reminder, for the difference over the original. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 840 and 910. And so it increased from 840 to 910. So it's a positive increase. And we increased 70 students. And we're going to divide that by the original number. And our original number was our 840. Now, when you divide this is going to give you a decimal. Then we go back up to our second box that says to find a percent given a decimal. We're going to move that decimal place over 2 to the right. And we're going to get 8.3% change from 840 to 910. All right, let's go ahead and turn to the back side of our notes. Here we are going to talk about the cost of a TV. A TV was originally $400, but is now $345. What was the percent decrease in the TV? So now our price is going down, and so we are going to take our 400 and minus 345. And we find that the change is, it's not 40, the change is 55. So we're going to put our change in our values over the original amount. And the original amount this time was our $400. So go ahead and divide those. We're going to get a decimal. You should get 1375. So now we're thinking in our heads, we're moving the decimal 2 to the right, or we're timesing by 100. And we get 13.75%, or you can say 13.8. I'm okay with both of those. All right, we have one more type of situation that we're going to look at. Here we're going to talk about, hey, we have a discount and we have tax. So discount now is given to us as a percentage. And so we have a couple ways we can think about this. You could look at this as the is over of statement. That works good. Or we can look at this and say, hey, I have a discount of 20%. How much am I actually going to pay? So if the price is 100%, we have a discount of 20%, we're actually paying 80%. So this is 100 and I'm minusing 20. So we're paying 80%. So I need to find 80% of 14. Okay, so I can take my 14 and times it by 0.80. That finds 80%. Or you can take and say what amount over 14 is equal to 80% over 100. These two things here and here, those two expressions are equivalent. And so you should find that our new price, our discounted price, is going to be $11.20. Now we have tax, and we are going to add tax in. And tax is always added in after discounts or any other things like that. And so we're going to add a 6% discount. So if the $11.20 is my new price, that's my new 100%, plus I'm adding a 6%. So we're going to pay 106% of the price. So I'm going to times by 1.06. That's 106% as a decimal. That tells me that I end up paying $11.872. When we're dealing with money, though, remember, we're going to go to 2 decimal places. If that 2 was higher than a 5, I would want to increase that. But because it's just a 2, we're going to end it there. Okay, so I want you to pause the video here and see if you can try problem B all on your own. And then when you come back, then we will go through it together. All right, have you paused the video? Y'all done? Okay, so I have a discount of 30%, so I'm going to actually be finding 70% of the price. So $70 times 0.7, so that's 70% as a percent decimal, is $49. So my new price is $49. I have a tax, so that means I'm adding it. So my new price is 100%, and I'm adding 6.5%. So I get 106.5. But remember, I want that as a decimal. So I get 1.065. So when I multiply those two together, I end up finding my new price with tax is $52.19. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you should be able to jump onto My Open Math now and find 1.4 through 1. No, I think you got just the 1, 3. Hang on, just give me a moment. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had the right assignment. You will be doing it's 1.7. It's going to show up on your calendar. So just click on the calendar 1.7. That'll take you to the link there. All right, I will be back and see you later.